Hello again, CGC family. Today, we're going to get into a little bit of the news that's happened over the last 2 weeks. Uh, got about 5 or 6 subjects here, and then I'm also going to give you an update on what the hell's been going on with me and the channel and what's about to start happening. First things first, though, you may notice that the footage here is in a little bit better quality. Went ahead and got myself a capture card, man. I had to stop depending on the councils to give me quality footage, seeing as how, especially with the Xbox, the DVR is complete garbage. So, of course, that's the first machine I tried out on, and it's looking pretty damn good so far, if I must say myself. Anyway, what's been going on? Let's see here. We got Sony buying Square Enix, allegedly. We got Microsoft closing in on the Activision Blizzard deal. Word is it might be done by the end of August or September. We got the KOTOR delay. We got the Halo Forge leaks. Looks pretty good. And then also I got something attached to that I'll mention when I get to that subject. First things first, those guys. Sony is allegedly buying Square Enix. Now, how do I feel about that? I gotta say, I think it's possible, right? It's very feasible that Sony could buy Square Enix. They certainly have a well-established relationship with them. Remember, in the mid-90s, it was Sony who basically gave Square Enix a boost because they didn't want to make cartridges anymore, and Nintendo was their newest console, the N64, was cartridge based, and Final Fantasy VII would have cost a lot of money. And yes, I'm old, but I remember this, so youngins, get your history lesson. And ever since then, they've kind of been rocking with Sony consistently. Now, we're a couple of points since that period where they were almost bought by Microsoft, and apparently that deal fell through in the 11th hour. But I believe that's why the Final Fantasy 13 series of games has such close proximity to the Xbox. Even now, I don't think you can play but like one of those games on PlayStation's cloud service, but all 3 games are in Game Pass, and they seem to be in there indefinitely, like they've never left. I think Microsoft has some kind of deal with the game. That was the game that was going to get them to buy Square Enix. Thankfully, that version of Microsoft didn't, because that version of Microsoft kind of sucked. But that's another story for another day. The legitimacy, again, of this deal is very high. But there's one problem that I think a lot of people seem to be ignoring. Square Enix is quite literally all over the place when it comes to their releases. Like, even right now, right? This is what they've done. And we're not going to stick on this too long, but we got to get this out, right? Even right now, they've released like the Saga Frontier 2 remake and the Saga Frontier 3 remake on the Xbox One and Series systems. And yet, when they did the Saga Frontier, I forget the name of it, but it was like a new collection with the first 2 games, or it was like the first game in the Game Boy game, missed the Xbox, right? Then you're talking about like Octopath Traveler. This is the one Square Enix game that is only not on PlayStation. It's on the Switch. It's on PC. It's on Xbox. It's on Google Stadia. Now, ain't that some shit? It's on Google Stadia. It ain't on PlayStation. And speaking of Octopath Traveler, like, do you think Square Enix really gonna throw away that Nintendo Switch money? Nintendo Switch money is really good right now. They just released Live Alive for the Switch. I say all that to say this, guys. I think Sony may have sabotaged themselves with that Bungie deal. And what do I mean by that? They look, and some people gonna feel a certain way about it. You might call me about. I don't give a shit. I already told you where I stand when it comes to this council war crap. But I gotta say this. That was the most ridiculous association fee deal I've ever seen in my life. They literally paid an association fee. And if you're not familiar with what association fee is, that's like buying a piece of property in a complex where all of the houses are built the same, just so they can cut your grass for you. But other than that, you really aren't a part of the complex. You just happen to be there. That's what Sony did with Bungie. It's like the fact that they own all of their own IP. Any IP they make under the PlayStation logo, they own. The fact that they were given an extra $1 billion, I believe, just to convince staff to not leave. The fact that they can still independently publish games on any platforms they want to, and Sony may not even get any content exclusivity out of it. You know what I'm saying? The only thing they're getting to use is their technology for multiplayer games, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to piss on that. But call it what it is. It's an association fee. These dudes can literally leave whenever they want to. That's also a part of the deal. If they want to bounce, they say, we done with this Sony shit, they can. That's crazy. That's why Microsoft didn't buy them, because I guarantee you they went to Microsoft first, because Microsoft got more money to throw at them for making games. So the fact that Sony paid this crazy, again, association fee to keep them, it kind of sets them up, right? You think about it, if Square Enix saw that and they're getting ready to buy them, it's like, well, we heard you're buying publishers and letting them make games, for other platforms at will. Surely they're going to look at that and say, yo, so can we get the same deal? And if that happens, it sets up. If Square Enix is saying the same thing, if Square Enix is like, yo, you can buy us, but we making Nintendo Switch money. We not about to get that up. You're gonna have to live with us putting those on Switch. Like, cause honestly, the relationship that Sony and Square have, and this deal supposedly been being talked about for a while, this shit should have been went down. It should have been happening. Why hasn't it? I don't know, y'all. I mean, like I said, Square Enix is on some weird stuff. They could easily do it. They're random enough, but I think that Bungie deal is gonna set a precedence for Sony that they may not like, but they're gonna have to deal with it. We'll find out soon enough. Other news: Microsoft is closing in on the Activision Blizzard deal. We knew this was gonna happen, right? We knew that. Look, you don't spend 69 or $70 billion and don't get things done the way you want to real quick. Apparently, this thing's already going through the final processes of being approved. And the amount of money, at least according to people who know, because hell if I do, the amount of money that's on the line, 9 times out of 10, it was not in the best interest of anybody to try and slow this boy down. So it's going to happen. So there's a strong chance at this point that we're looking at Call of Duty being in Game Pass right as it releases. And I'm down for that because I don't want to pay for that game. My question is what happens next with these fools, because they really are they not pump faking when it comes to spending money on this stuff. The big rumor or a big analysis, let's say, came up about the possibility of buying Netflix and the implications of that. And at this point, I wouldn't be surprised. Microsoft really seems to be committed to growing the amount of content they're going to be able to put in the Game Pass, and a Netflix subscription right alongside that, and possibly even games based on Netflix properties seems inevitable, and actually not a bad idea. I wouldn't mind a AAA big release of Stranger Things game with a new narrative that's not in the TV show. That would be pretty cool. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who would like that. There's a lot of stuff they could pull off with that. I know Netflix owns a lot of the Mark Millar properties. They could probably make some kind of AAA kick-ass games. Like the possibilities are endless. And mind you, this is all coming off the heels of Microsoft getting some kind of advertising software deal with Netflix. So it could just be a business deal. But the gaming community, once somebody says something, and this was a professional analyst that said, yeah, they might as well just go ahead and buy them. in so many more words than what I put it, right? I'm not pulling it quite as eloquently as she did. I believe it was a lady who said this, but yeah. In so many words, she said, yeah, they might as well go ahead and buy them because it'll help X, Y, and Z. It'll help Netflix reach through Game Pass, and Microsoft will have more intellectual properties they could, use for the purpose of making games and things like this. So in so many words, is basically what she said. I'm like, I looked at it and I'm like, it's actually not a bad idea. So, could happen, could not. I don't know with Microsoft at this point, man. I've heard Sega. Now I'm hearing Netflix. I've heard ridiculous stuff like Capcom. I don't think Capcom's ever gonna sell to anybody. Capcom loves making money from every corner of the universe, which takes us back to subject one. I'm not sure about Square Enix because they're making money from every corner of the universe. They did though unload Tomb Raider and a bunch of other high potential IPs for like $300 million, which is, bravo on the Embracer Group. They really lowballed the shit out of them for that, and they got it. Like that's correct. The fact that they paid $300 million for that is wild. Like the Tomb Raider franchise alone is worth more than $300 million, I would assume. But hey, man, it is what it is. Square Enix is random. Apparently, Microsoft has no intention of slowing down their spending. It's going to be a wild next couple of years. I think I've said that before. This is competition on another level where because all of these companies have these content streaming applications or these content streaming platforms, that they're all going to be in the business of accumulating IPs so that they can just throw them in there without having to worry about whether or not they got a game coming from this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? We know we got games coming and every part of the year because we own so many companies that, something's almost guaranteed to drop with, and fill in those gaps. Like I think even Sony closed a deal on Bungie and I think Haven and Firespark. I believe it's Firespark. Firespark might be an old FPS company from the mid 2000s. But they've closed the deal on like 2 or 3 companies in the last month themselves. Point of the matter is, guys, this ain't slowing down. You really like video games, you either prepare to be disappointed that the company you don't mess with. Like I said, if you're built like that, be prepared to be disappointed that the company you don't mess with bought your favorite developer, or by all them councils. Man, it's getting messy. Let's see. KOTOR delay. KOTOR has been delayed indefinitely. I knew that this project was going to be, let's say, interesting. I remember when Sony first announced this KOTOR remake, right, was exclusive to the PlayStation platform. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of a L for Microsoft, right? Since that series is more synonymous with the Xbox than it is the PlayStation. But I wondered, I was like, so they got BioWare making it, or it can't be Obsidian because Obsidian's owned by Microsoft. Maybe they got BioWare on loan from EA, but BioWare would be busy with Mass Effect, Dragon's Age, and a couple other games, I would think. No, they didn't have either one of those. They had Aspyr. A company who, and I'm not trying to piss on Aspire, but a company who's known for porting games to other platforms, not making them. They don't remaster anything. Anybody who tells you that lie, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Aspire doesn't remaster anything. They port games. They're the reason why you can play KOTOR on your cell phone or on the Switch and stuff like that. They don't make games. You know what I'm saying? Not in the traditional sense, or at least they haven't in a while. I think they did make games back in the day, but mostly all they do now is port games. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, well, you ain't got the KOTOR directors, you ain't got the KOTOR programmers, you damn sure ain't got one of the KOTOR teams, because that's an Xbox team. They're not making a PlayStation game exclusively. Who the hell's making this game? And then you start hearing about this ragtag group of developers and writers. And, oh, they're going to change some of the narratives to fit more in, modern day tropes. And, some of some of the dialogue needs to be changed because it doesn't fit with modern day standards of decency or whatever. And I was like, oh boy, don't get me wrong, I'm not against it, but I knew that was going to ruffle some feathers, and sure enough it did. And now we've come to the point where the damn game has been delayed indefinitely, which means it'll probably take 5 or 6 years for it to come out. But yeah, it's been delayed indefinitely. I don't think it'll be canceled. It's too big to get canceled. Then again, Star Wars games have been canceled before, so it wouldn't really be new for that to be a thing to happen. I kept telling people this on Twitter. You had guys who love their series who like, oh man, Microsoft really messed up by not getting this. And I'm like, dude, BioWare, even if they did get BioWare to make it, it wouldn't be the same BioWare. The only team that's probably about the same that made a KOTOR game is Obsidian. And guess what? Microsoft ain't letting them make no damn Xbox game exclusively. I think Phil Spencer looked at that and said, yo, who's making this? And he was like, y'all making this? Do y'all got anybody from BioWare watching you? Do you got somebody? You ain't using my team, so you got somebody from BioWare watching you? Did the doctors come back? The guys who created BioWare? No? Oh, no, we straight. You can get it soon. We want it. And after seeing the shit show it's turned into, can you really blame him? Everybody jumped down Phil Spencer's throat. Well, how could he not did that and blah, blah, blah. Look at this shit. Look at it. It's a clusterfuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes we got to stop being armchair developers and whatever the hell. It's like, dog, that shit clearly has problems. And it's like, because they're trying to remake one of the greatest games of all time without the people who made one of the greatest games of all time watching them. It wasn't going to work. Now, it still could come out and be a great game and da-da-da-da-da, but let's just be serious, folks. The chances are slim. And I'm going to just leave it at that. Chances are slim. I never did trust the idea that a bunch of dudes that's not the dudes who made the original game gonna just redo it and make it better than they did. That's, or even as close to as good as they did. Like, that was bullshit. And when, again, people were so up in arms, Microsoft didn't do it. Like, Phil Spencer, I think, knows what he's doing. That's why he's got the job. He probably said, "Who's making this?" and was like, "Nah, we're good. We're not doing that." Sony, I'm gonna get this out there. Sony seems to be doing a lot of things out of desperation. The Bungie Association feed thing seems to be out of desperation, just to get a news click. Like, oh yeah, look, we bought something, And then the KOTOR remaster, like I said, the time's gonna tell on that. The jury's still out on that. But again, man, like, you tell me that you ain't got nobody who made the original game helping you make it. Not even the dude who used to fill the refrigerator with Gatorade. Like, what are you talking about? You ain't got nobody from the original team making the game, as far as I know. I could be wrong, and if I am, put it in the comments. Prove me wrong, please. But they got nobody. And they gonna want $70 for that shit. You miss me with that, boy. I ain't doing You know, I'll wait and see what they're talking about. But yeah. And for our last subject, we got a little bit of time here. Didn't I tell y'all last video, right? Didn't I tell y'all last video that this was gonna happen? And look where we are. Halo Forge leaks. Right out of the supposedly only Halo co-op beta, now we got Halo Forge leaks. Didn't I tell y'all? Go back and watch that iceberg video. I told y'all. It's coming. I told y'all. I was like, this is pimping. All these people down on Halo. Oh, Battlefield 2042 is getting more players per day on Steam. You know, like Steam is the only fucking metrics to measure how people are playing games. It's getting beat by 2042 and all these other games. Halo's dead. And it's like, next thing you know, all of these videos leaking, all of this wild shit you can do in Forge, making Lego tanks and all this other crazy crap. And now people are talking about it again. And by the end of the year, mark my words, that shit's gonna be in the game. And we're gonna have a different conversation. Also, according to I believe Tom Henderson, guy's really good at covering industry news. According to Tom Henderson, I think he said a couple of months back, and if I'm wrong, Tom, forgive me, but he said that I think COD's gonna have a map editor in it. And a lot of people might be like, so what? It's map editor, big deal. Like, dude, yes, map editors are a big deal, huge deal. They won't be official maps unless, there's some kind of program or roadmap set up for Activision to allow that. But the fact that that level of content creation is in the game is huge. And you talk about content drops, map editors completely obliterate that issue. Map editors, mode editors, that shit is key. It's God tier. That's why people want time splitters back. One of the reasons. It's why people were disappointed when Far Cry dumps his multiplayer because, that stuff is a big deal. So, we'll see, man. But, go back and watch the Iceberg Slim video and keep your eyes on this Halo Infinite situation because I guarantee you I called that shit like Babe Ruth called his own shot. It's going to go down just the way I said it. Anyway, guys, that's all the news I got for now. I promise you more content is coming on a more consistent basis. Yeah, motherfucker, we heard that before. Well, this time I really mean it because, like I said, got the capture card. No more boo-boo looking ass videos. Hopefully. I'm about to get this shit together. I'm about to hook y'all up. We got more gameplay coming. We got a Steam Deck review coming. We got more Battlefield episodes coming. We got a lot more content coming. So don't miss it. Subscribe, share, comment, like, dislike, whatever. Tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me something, please. I need to hear it. All right, man. I love you guys. Thank you again for watching this. You have a great rest of your day.